What is up, DMV Hoops fans? I've got a good one for you here today. I've got Tristian Spurlock, an assistant coach for player development at the University of Iowa, and a DMV icon in the high school basketball scene coming up. Tristian, you're a little younger than me, but I remember your name and all the papers and everything, especially on that Montrose Christian team. You guys were super fun to watch. You obviously transferred for that last year to Word of Life Christian Academy. Had a great senior year. We're Virginia Player of the Year by a couple different associations. All met. Had, I think, probably the best game of anybody in that Capital Classic. Muftau Yuru also had a pretty darn great game.
Thank you.
But it's a pleasure to have you on, and thanks for making time on your Sunday.
No, I appreciate it. I mean, it's kind of crazy thinking about all those things now, man. And now I'm kind of like, I just want to be good enough to make sure my son can't beat me one-on-one.
There you go.
Till he's old enough,
Sure.
but I really have fun back home, and to me, it's the best area for basketball. Some people say LA, some people like Chicago, but I think the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia is by far the best for basketball.
Absolutely agree. That's the main reason we want to do this podcast here and show people stories like yours that just hey, like, we got some absolute hoopers from here, and the fact that you're still contributing to the game in such a great way, I think, is something we wanted to spotlight too. So this is perfect. Before we get going here, just want to get our ad reads and stuff out of the way. Brought to you by Stateside Vodka and their Surfside hard iced teas, hard lemonades, hard every flavor you can think of. They're all delicious. Also brought to you by BetOnline. It's your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, UFC, tennis, more. If you just watched that Ravens game, hopefully you bet against them. Unfortunately, that was a bummer for me. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place all your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games. Head to the website or use our mobile device to sign up today. Use our promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit and your welcome bonus there. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, so I mentioned this in the intro here a little bit, but 23 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks as a senior. You were the 80th best recruit according to ESPN, 16th best ball forward. Different publications have you higher, some a little lower. It's always sort of a crapshoot, I think, for some of these different services. But Virginia is a loaded basketball state. The DMV is loaded.
Yeah.
For anybody not familiar with your game, you were an absolute beast out there. How does it feel to have earned those kind of accolades and still get to be thought of in that way, I guess?
For me, I guess it's cool thinking about them now. I mean, when you're in it, you're kind of like just running it up as much as you can. Like, I didn't really think about it as much then. I just wanted to, compete. At Montrose, it was all competing. That's all the list of guys that were on my team. I mean, you got to think we had young guys who didn't even play that ended up going, Justin Anderson was a freshman when I was leaving, and he was coming in, and you got guys like that. And I mean, we just had a loaded team there from Terrell Vincent, Isaiah Armwood. Those guys wouldn't play D1, Adrian Bowie, Shane. Like, my team at one point, I think we had like 8, 9 D1 guys, and that's every single day you come into practice. And even a guy like Michael Fraction, who was on my team, he's now the player development guy for the Lakers. So he didn't even he played, had a great D2 career, and now he's in the NBA, with those guys. So for me, I look back on it now and I enjoy it, man, just being able to hear some of those numbers. Montrose, my numbers were a little skewed because we're so good that it was hard to average 20 when you got 6 Division I guys. So when I went to Word of Life my senior year, I was able to really let loose. And, we had some big games like IMG. I played against them. I had like 45. I think that was one of the big games that got me kind of, pushed for my player of the year. When we played big teams, I had big games and, went to the state championship and, stuff like that. And when I, sit back and look back, that Capital Classic was great for me too. I mean, so many friends off of that, so many guys I talk to this day. And, did Moof get MVP? Was he the MVP of that?
He was the MVP of that game. Yeah.
Yeah. We got to go back. I got to go back and watch that. I don't know if I Moof my guy. I don't know about that one, Moof, but I did have a good game. So that was cool. That was cool to I think it was like first team, Capital Classic. And that's like, for me back home, being a part of that is, that's up there with, being, I don't know if there's any higher honors than being able to play in that and being an all-Met selection. That's when I'm a historian of the game, and those are the guys I remember who were on those lists.
I don't think people now realize, I mean, that aren't, old enough to, don't remember like how big those Capital Classic games really were.
Seeing Braun, CP3 played in it, that Capital Classic game was huge growing up.
Oh yeah.
That was big time.
I think they've recently brought it back in the last year or two, but it doesn't, hasn't gotten back to that level yet. But yeah, you guys beat the crap out of the U.S. All-Stars.
We did.
The
And
year
they were
before,
talking a little smack too. They was chirping too.
Yep. I love that. I mean, I think that speaks to the DMV talent. I don't think there's another All-Star game really like this, where you get like the best of the country against one specific area. And for you guys to go out and win by over 30 points a year after the Capital All-Stars lost by almost 40 points. I think that was a pretty cool way to just show them the DMV can hang with everybody.
And they had some, if I'm not mistaken, they had a couple of McDonald All-Americans on that team too. And it was like, we kind of were like, all right, cool. That's great. But now you got to come over here and play. And we did take it as an All-Star game. And I think the year before, those guys did, and we didn't. And we took it as a challenge, and we wanted to come in there and, wanted to play. Like, it was no friendly. It was no fast break layups and, free-for-all dunks. It was up 30, and we were trying to win by 50. So that
actually
was
getting in a stance and guarding people. And
no, we were playing. Yeah. And, I love, I'm not a hater of the NBA.
Sure.
But I do miss the 2001 All-Star game where, you know what I mean? I do miss that feeling where it's, a close game the whole way and guys are really playing. And, I saw the other day somebody tweeted out a clip of, the one where the East won, and they had like 4 guards. They had Stephon and Vince was out there, and AI and going against Kobe, Tim, and KG. Like, that was like, peak All-Star game for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I take a 195 All-Star game win over 157 to 152 or whatever they've turned into now.
For sure.
So speaking of defense, you went to UVA for college. You had offers from.
That's a great segue.
Yeah, exactly. right. Definitely defense was a big deal there. That Tony Bennett guy takes that pretty seriously from what I hear. But you had offers from Maryland, Georgetown, UConn, NC State. I mean, I could keep rattling off names. Selfishly, as a Maryland alum, I definitely wanted you to be a Terp. But why Virginia? I know Dave Ladow was the one recruiting you, and he ultimately left. Why stick with Tony? Was there anyone else that was ever kind of really in the running there?
You know what's crazy? I cut my list at such a young age. You know what I mean? I cut it like in my mind, and I guess the people around me, like I was playing for DC Blue Devils at the time, and they would always tell me like, oh, so-and-so's interested. And I was a big Homer guy. Even when I was with Stu Vetter at Montrose, he was, him and Gary Williams were really tight. One of my favorite players ever growing up was Gravis Vasquez. You know what I mean? 6'5", long, could, get to the basket, could shoot it. I loved Gravis. That was my guy. He was, he and him were very close. When I was at Montrose, wore 21 after he wore 21. You know what I mean? Like, that was my guy. So him going to Maryland, that really meant a lot to me. And I honestly, thinking back on it now, Georgetown was another school that I was there a lot, playing pickup with guys, hooping, just, always around because I lived so close to there. So for me, Dave Leto just was on me. Like, they recruited me since felt like 7th grade. Like, they were on me for the longest amount of time. Every time I went up there, it was really comfortable. I think my mom wanted me to go to Georgetown. I think my dad might have wanted me to go to Maryland. So,
it's got to make it tough.
Yeah, maybe if they were on a united front, we could have swayed me a little better. But, I committed under Dave. Coach Later, I committed under him. And then once he got released or let go, Tony came in and picked the slack up right away, like picked it up day one. He got hired. He was at my house the next day. You know
Made
what I mean?
A priority. That's got to feel pretty good, right?
And it was. And that was, one thing that I say to them, like, they recruited me hard, and I was going to open up and just completely, blow it up and go somewhere different. But they recruited me hard, and I love the guys that was there. Sylvan Landisberg was my guy. Mike Scott and me are still tight to this day. I done been to some of his, playoff games. Jontel Evans, who I came in with, played Boo Williams with. He wasn't gonna, open up, and he was gonna stay at UVA. And he had an amazing career there from day one, starting. Probably, one of the more underrated guys that ever played there. So, when I think what helped Tony in my making a decision was the guys that was already there. You know what I mean? I'd already was comfortable with them, texting them, talking to them. So for me, I more so looked at, I liked UVA, and I thought Tony Bennett was a great coach. Now, when I got there, I realized his style of play wasn't really conducive to my game. I wanted to get up and down. I wanted to play. I wanted to play fast like I did at Montrose and like I did at Word of Life. And, when you get there, I'm 210 soaking wet. You know what I mean? I don't know how, I couldn't really play the 4 in the ACC at that point. And, once I made that switch, I think that really helped me out, college career-wise. I had a great ending to my career, so it was cool.
I think style of play is such like an underrated thing for people probably coming up and talking about that. Like it's how will I fit specifically and how will guys use me? You know, I think you were, I don't know if you feel this way. I feel this way ahead of your time as a 6'8" guy that could put the ball on the floor, could shoot it, you know, do a little bit of everything.
It's crazy because I think that too now. Like I'm like, man, I was really a 4-3, but I could push it and play it, point forward. And even my last year, I played with Boo Williams, man. And, you know, I played a little 4, a little 3, a little 2. You know, I had a loaded team there. So, you know, we were kind of like the first big loaded team, like a team takeover is now, in a sense. You know what I mean? Like we had plenty of guys and, you know, a lot of recruits. So, you know, for me, it was great. It was great being a part of that whole area and, you know, getting out of there, getting out of UVA and going to UCF was one of the better decisions I ever made.
Donnie Jones plays a little faster too, so probably a better fit.
Yeah. And Donnie used me. I mean, at one point I was our backup point guard. You know, at one point I was, you know, starting 3, starting 4. Like Donnie let me be me in a lot of situations. And, you know, I really appreciated him for that.
I think that was probably like the highlight of your game is being able to affect the game in a lot of different ways. I think the last 2 years you averaged like 11, 8, 2, 1, and 1. I mean, like,
man, I had some crazy stat lines. Like I think I had like 2 games where I had like 16, 8, 5, 2, and 2. Like I had some really crazy games, and you know, Donnie will tell you, he had told plenty of people, like, you know, I coached at Florida. I coached, you know, Hassan Whiteside. I coached all these guys, talent, you know, from talent, punch to punch, talent to talent. I don't think I've had a more talented guy than Tristan. And, you know, I always, you know, respected him for saying that. And he always, you know, told everybody that. And it was big time for me.
Yeah, that's really cool. So UVA doesn't go as well you would like your freshman year, I think. You're a little banged up, if I remember correctly.
I had a sports hernia. A lot of people don't know that, too. Okay. I had a sports hernia probably from maybe after, like, October. You know, and I had surgery right like the 2 days after the season ended, you know, and I just wanted to keep playing.
And that's a tough system to pick things up if you can't be out on the court.
And I didn't redshirt, and maybe I should have, you know, redshirted. And I know they were really surprised when I wanted to transfer. They you know, weren't really like, I didn't think they thought I was going to want to transfer, but I kind of knew, like, all right, this system's not, you know, more conducive than what I want to do. And I got banged up, and it was tough. That freshman year was really tough for me. Thankfully, I had great teammates who never let me be down on myself. And, you know, and in the limited minutes, I showed, like, you know, I could really score this ball. You know what I mean? I had, you know, come in 6 quick points, 8 quick points. And, you know, for me, the UVA fans were great. They always, you know, supported me, wanted me to do more, wanted me more. And, you know, a lot of people didn't even think I'd be at UVA long anyway after, because of the, you know, how the success of Silvis Landesberg and him. Like, when I went to UVA, I wanted to follow that pattern. I wanted to be freshman of the year, play as hard as I could, play as much as I could, and let the chips fall where they may.
You mentioned you kind of knew. Was that style play? Was that fit? Was it just vibe in general? Like, walk me through the decision to transfer.
I wouldn't say vibe, because they kept a good, you know, good atmosphere there. But I would definitely say style of play. I wanted to get up and down. I wanted to play fast. I wanted to go, you know. And for me, it just wasn't conducive to how I played. And again, you know, they were great over there. Nobody ever, you know, made me feel like an outcast or anything like that. I just kind of knew. And I think they kind of knew too, like, all right, he's, you know, and when I decided to leave, it was cool. There was no bad blood. And, you know, it was everything. You know, I wish them the best. Like I said, I have best friends still from not even on the team, people just in general, you know what I mean? That I still talk to this day.
I think one of the big things we hear now with the transfer portal is you get sort of these guys that almost like boomerang recruiting, right? Like, I was really close to recruiting you the first time to my school. You didn't pick me, but I'll end up there, you know, when I transfer. Was Donnie Jones somebody that recruited you the first go around?
Out of Florida. Yeah. Early when he was at Florida, he recruited me hard, like hard. And, you know, they just went back to back. He kept comparing me to Corey Brewer. And, you know, again, I cut my list so early that I kind of knew I wanted to stay close to home.
Sure.
I had so much family that, you know, and to be honest, it was all ACC for me. And I had Texas, I had USC, I had, you know, these other schools, these other big schools, Florida, you know, Florida State. Andy Enfield, who's at USC, he offered me, I think, like my first scholarship. That was in like 9th grade. I went to Andy Enfield's camp, shooting camp he used to hold in at Paul VI. He used to hold a shooting camp, and I used to go. And one day, you know, the last day of camp, every day camp was like shooting. You know, I was an okay shooter, so I was really working on my shooting. We did a lot of shooting drills. The last day of camp, he let us play. So last day, I'm like, all right, now I could just play. And I started playing, And he brought me aside. He was like, I don't know if you noticed, we're gonna offer you a scholarship. Like,
that's pretty cool.
And he offered me right on the spot. So it was great. But yeah, style of play for me, definitely. And Donnie, when I came down there on that UCF visit, campus was beautiful. One of the biggest schools in the country as far as, enrollment, and being in Florida didn't hurt. Being in Orlando every day was great too.
It's a huge school. We've got access to a lot of different programs, a lot of different stuff. There's, beaches not super far away. I mean, like, you could do a lot of things down there too.
Yeah. It was nice. Shorts all year round. It was cool. Cool.
On your college team, you had Marcus and Jeffrey Jordan.
I did, yeah.
What was that like? I got to imagine it's similar to what guys are going through with Bronny now, except there's not the same amount of social media. Man. But was that tough at times, like for you guys to not be distracted?
You forget, like you'll be doing whatever, and you'll forget a lot that they're who they are. You know what I mean? I mean, they look like Mike, but you know what I mean. But like you forget in the middle of practice or middle of boxing out, in the middle of talking trash on the bus or whatever you're doing, you'll forget those things. But those guys were great. Marcus was always ahead of his time as far as like social media, and if there was publicity like there was now, he would be on that level with them. As Shador and those other guys who come from like amazing stock, he'd be on that level because he was way ahead. He had a vlog that he wanted to do way ahead of time that the NCAA told him he couldn't do. Like even how we got to Nike at UCF was because of him, because they were Adidas school and he didn't want to wear Adidas.
Right, yeah.
The whole school flipped. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
Like, imagine if that happened now. It'd be unreal. Like the publicity would have been even more. But Marcus was great. Jeff was my guy. Me and Jeff sat out when we transferred. It's crazy to say sit out because guys don't sit out anymore.
I know. Yeah.
So me and Jeff sat out together. So we had all our conditioning workouts, all our stuff together. And I mean, me and him really bonded. We were really close. But yeah, those guys was great. Marcus was great, man. Like, now seeing him now and all the success he's having in doing his business venture in Orlando I'm really proud of him.
One of the big conversations with college basketball now is the transfer portal. And you hear kind of both sides of things from former players of, hey, sitting out that year really helped me, versus guys shouldn't have to sit out a year. I guess, did it help you? But where do you fall on kind of that, the way that rule is set up now, I guess?
It helped me, but then like, I do feel like the rules should be you get one. I feel like you should get one.
Yeah.
I feel like you go into a situation, the situation is conducive to you, and whatever happens, you should get one. Boom. No matter what, no matter, coach gets fired, anything, you should get one. No penalty. You're not happy here. We let you move on. Get your one. You know what I mean? And then then it gets tricky when you're starting to allow kids 5, 6, 7. And, I'm seeing kids go to 4 years in 4 different schools, 5 years, 4 schools. Like, it's hard there, man. You letting 18, 19-year-old kids make those type of decisions, it gets tough. And for me, that sit-out year was amazing because I had a lot of great guys who developed me and helped me get better. I had Brendan Sir. He was a part of the Bad Boy staff. He, funny enough, he coached against Marcus and Jeff's dad, Mike, when he was assistant coach on the Bad Boys, and helped write the book, The Jordan Rules. So, I had a guy like him who would tell me like, hey, you need to work on this, or you need to do this, or come on, let's go get some shots up. Let's go work out. And that was great for me. I needed that year to just settle down, regroup, refocus, and, just relax.
I kind of like go back and forth on that. Like, I think I'm with you of like, definitely you get the one, but I do feel bad for guys after their career sometimes when it's like, I went to 5 schools and I don't really have a home. I got to imagine when you go back to Central Florida. Like,
and that's another thing I was going to say. I don't think they realize like when you're done with a school or when you put your time and your effort, how like the fan base, you know what I mean? Like UCF's fan base was so great to me, so good to me. Even now, like, being an assistant coach now at Iowa, where I love it here. Those guys, man, I get messages. I had a fan who had my jersey, one of my jerseys, my senior. I don't know how, but my senior night jersey was up for auction. I think I left it one day and it was still there. The guy sent it to me. I thought he sent it to me to sign. So I signed it and I sent it back. He sent me the jersey back. It was like, no, it's yours. Like, I want you to, like, cool. And I think kids don't understand that, even here at Iowa, when we have real passionate, loving fans, and if you do what you're supposed to do here and you play hard, these people will love you forever. You know what I mean? And they'll support you forever, no matter what business you're doing, no matter what you're doing afterwards. I'm on staff with Matt Gatens, right? Big time college guy. He's an assistant coach here. He's got pizza named after him down here. Like, it's a blessing when you go somewhere for such a long period of time and those people grow up, and now they're telling their kids, like, hey man, like, that's, it's amazing. And to me, I think that's the most underrated value of switching to school.
I hear a lot of people talk about like devaluing education. Most of these schools are pretty darn good, and you're going to get a good education.
And you're going to get a great education. I think that was one thing too that Donnie Jones made me graduate. I was coming out of my senior year. I had a couple credits left. I could have eased him like, nah, I'll take this in the summer, and I got to get ready for the NBA draft. And he was like, man, you're going to graduate. I don't care about nothing. Like, as soon as my last game was over, he came to me. He said, you on pace to graduate. You're going to graduate with a 3.0. You're going to graduate. You understand me? And I'm like, all right, coach, like, no, gonna graduate. And for me, I only had 2 classes my last semester, or 3, something like that, because I was I was on top of my stuff. So it was great.
I mean, you're living this to some extent now, but do you think being able to transfer, and sometimes guys are getting waivers to do 2, 3, 4 times, does that change the way head coaches and assistant coaches can coach a kid if they have to worry about?
I think you're always recruiting your kids, and if you're doing the right thing and being who you are and who you say you are, it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, look at us. We have a lot of a turnover, but we have some teams I've seen have 8, 9, 6, 7 new guys, man, and not freshmen. We're talking about completely new guys, and that's tough. That's tough to do. That's tough to deal with. But if you're actively recruiting your kids, if you're actively recruiting your own kids, you know what I mean? Like, if you're every day coming in and being who you say you are, you should be fine. And for us, I'm blessed enough to work for a guy who's himself every day. You go get from Coach McCaffrey every single day. Every day you walk in there, he's gonna be the same guy. He gonna be on you when it's time to be on you. And when we're done, hey, what do you need? You okay? Come here. Open door policy for him. So, I mean, that means a lot.
As a Maryland fan, I can't give Coach McCaffrey too much credit, but
no, that's okay. I understand.
I'm gonna give him credit for one. He's an incredible offensive coach. It's so fun to watch watch you guys play. But I think you're such a smart addition to that staff for them, because you tick so many boxes. Big time recruit. You've transferred, which is important to be able to have some of that experience of what it's like. You have a lot of pro experience, and you have basically a modern style of basketball that I think would have fit in really well playing for somebody like Coach McCaffrey. So it seems to make a lot of sense there.
I talk about it all the time, and I think sometimes parents think it's like a pitch when I say this. If 19, 18-year-old Tristan would have got on a flight and been able to, get to Iowa City, Iowa, one, I would have loved the family environment. You know what I mean? Coming from the DMV area, you see how busy it is. It's very relaxing here. I got 2 young ones, 2 kids. My daughter, happy birthday to her. She just had her birthday yesterday.
Awesome.
And it's so chill. It's so calm. I would have loved that. And then watching practice. I remember the first time I watched practice maybe 3 years ago. I just sat there thinking like, oh, I would have averaged 20. That's all I kept thinking in my mind was I would have killed. Like, your Keegans and Chris, I played like that then. So for me, I was like, I'm looking at like, dang, oh, Tris, we should have expanded out. We should have got out of it. We should have got outside a little bit more. But even now, like you said, like, I think I do check a lot of the boxes for Coach. I'm young. I'm able to relate to these guys. I believe in daily deposits. I believe me pouring into you allows me to pull those deposits out when we get into tough times. If I'm with you all the time, if I'm, being a positive light in your life, then when we go through something tough, I'm able to look at you, hey, we on the road at Indiana. We at the road at Maryland where it gets hostile. Hey, look at me. Lock in. Get this rebound. Let's go. Because I poured into you. I've talked to you. I've been up with you at 6 a.m. working out. I've been up at 11 p.m. watching film or coming in and you just need to talk. Like, I believe that if I poured up positivity into you, when things get rocky, we're able to lock in and we're able to focus, and I can, help you out. And then on the other side, like I said, this is the best. The DMV is the best, when it comes to basketball in the country. So why not have a guy who's deeply rooted from there?
Yeah, I can't imagine that that's a bad thing for them to want to tap into too. And
no,
you've got all these connections. For sure.
Our greatest, arguably the best Hawk ever is Luka Garza. You know what I mean? So. From the crib, right?
That's another one that hurts me as a Maryland fan. How do we let that guy get away?
Him and Hunter Dickinson. I don't know how y'all let them two just run up out of there like that.
Yeah, well, it's a coach that's no longer here that we'll no longer speak about, but that's definitely tough. All right. Can you confirm for me that Iowa only recruits guys that have siblings or multiple siblings that will want to
Family
come in?
business.
Yeah, I mean, come on,
Family
man.
business.
You
We
got
can't help
Murray's,
that.
you
We
got
can't help that.
Sanfords, you got McCaffrey's, you got
It runs
everybody.
in the blood. It
I love
runs in
that.
the blood. And then think about this though. Like it runs in the blood, but you gotta if we did those brothers or those family members wrong, you think they would want to come?
Exactly. That's a
You know
good
what I mean?
recruiting
Like
pitch, right?
Price was, we got the freshman now, Price Ever. He was heavily recruited. Big time schools were after him. And you don't think that he could have been like, my brother's there already. He's kind of got his thing. No, it works. And then speaking to our skill development, we get guys like the Murray twins who were ranked 380 whatever in the country. Nobody wanted them. Nobody wanted both of them for sure.
Yeah.
They come here and within 3 years, within 2 years, one is a All-American.
Yep.
And then within 3 years, the other one who would have been an All-American if he didn't have his brother in front of him.
Right. He could have gone the year before too.
He could have gone the year before. Now what he did was bet on himself. He came back, he worked out. He said, okay, a lot of people saying I'm a two-way guy. I'm going to prove them wrong. Went from 9 points to 20 points. It's just your time. You're next. You're the next step. And you've been in the system so long. You know it like the back of your hand. Like you said, Coach McCaffrey, offensive genius, when it comes to putting guys in great situations. I mean, it took me a good year. Like it took me a whole year to start running, to understand the sets and the plays and the way we play. And then still we have so many back cuts, so many, like I would hate to scout us. I would hate to have to scout us because I'd be like, all right, guys, listen, anything is possible today. All right. You just got to stay in front of your man and hope for the best, So yeah.
You're disguising stuff. There's counters to everything.
Yes, counters. And you got guys who can play. We get guys who can shoot it, pass it, dribble it. And for me, I like the fact that we'll play anybody, anywhere, anytime. We don't, we're not hiding, we're not ducking. I mean, look at us last year. We played Duke at the Garden. You know what I mean? I think New York might have more Duke fans than North Carolina. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So when we jumped out there and played them. So and then had to play Iowa State 2 days later. We came out there. Yeah. And we luckily we got them at home. Which was great, won by 20 plus, and it was a great game for us. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to work for Coach McCaffrey. And like you said, like I do think I check all the boxes for the guys.
It's another pro segue on your part here. You got media in your future if you want it. You mentioned skill development there. You're also an assistant coach for player development. Somebody like Chris Murray, like, can you talk us through your role there and what you do, but how you help somebody like a Chris Murray, make those improvements?
Man, Chris, I think the best thing to describe Chris Murray and Keegan Murray was when I first got the job in July, I would, mind you, I'm fresh off of playing. I stopped playing February. I got the job last July. So I'm really, fresh off. So I would come in the gym early in the mornings to shoot. It's open gym, free gym. I get in about 7, come in, get some shots up, stay sweating. I'm not a big treadmill guy. Like I still can't just jump on the treadmill and run yet. Maybe when I'm older in my coaching career, that'll be my thing. But right now I still like to get up and down and play. And so they're twins. They look exactly the same. And I'd known them for a couple months, maybe a couple months at that. And I get in the gym. One is running our stadium. One of them is running the stadium. Boom. And the other one is shooting on the gun. And I told him one day, like, hey, I'm here. If you need me, we can do whatever you want to do. Sure. Yeah, okay. Come in next morning, same thing. One's running the steps. One's on the gun, switch. No cameras, no tweets, no film crew.
Nobody having to push them. Yeah.
Nobody, no mom, dad, no trainer, them. So for me, Chris was a very self-motivated guy. And when we did work out, he worked hard. He got in the gym, got his shots up, got his work in. He led by example. You couldn't really say anything to him because he was always on his game. He was always on his grind, doing what he needed to do. For me, it was guys like Philip Abracha, who we worked out tirelessly, worked out a lot together in the gym. And seeing him go from 5 points a game to 14 points, 7 rebounds, third team All Big Ten. I mean, that was like so gratifying for me. And then you got guys now who will have big impacts, who are taking those steps. Some of the guys we got, even Patrick McCaffrey, he's a guy we work out a lot together. And Peyton, Peyton works out with everybody a lot. These guys love being in the gym, and I love being here with them. And for me, just, whatever they might need, whether it be going over film now and, working out, whatever it is now that, the NCAA has allowed for you to have 6 guys on the court, that opened up for me because now last year I could only be on the court when one of the assistant coaches were gone recruiting.
Got it. Okay.
So when one of the coaches were gone recruiting, I was able to fill that need and that void. But now I'm a full-time, from the assistant coach's standpoint, now I'm on the court as much as I want.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I'm sure that's a nice resource for them to have too, especially
Yeah,
like individual skill work. I mean,
yeah,
it's
it is.
you're probably the first guy they're going to for that kind of thing, right?
It is. Yeah, man. They you know, they like to play one-on-one a lot. They like to, you
Sure.
know, let's play, let's hoop, let's get after it. I'm like, good. Like, look, man, my knees. You catch me 3 years ago, it'd have been better games. We'd have
Yeah.
had more fun. But now I think, you know, for me, film study is a huge thing. I'm a big film guy. I'm a big watching from your own mistakes.
Mhm.
So I think that's more important than anything. And consistency. You know, one of my things is, you know, you stay consistent even when you don't want to stay motivated. Like even those days you don't want to get up, still go. Stay consistent. And you know, study success and you steal advice. You
I
know, you
think
study it.
when guys, you have to have a certain amount of credibility with players, I think, for them to really latch on to what you're
A
doing,
good
right?
point. That's a
And
great point.
you're somebody that like again, you're 6'8", but you can handle the ball like a guard
Hmm.
and play like a guard. They have to look at you and think, all right, this guy
Yeah.
practiced what he preached. He developed these skills. So I got to imagine that resonates with them.
You're right. This generation is so different. This is a very much show me
Mhm.
generation. Like you're not gonna be able to go out there and be like, oh, I used to do this and that. You gotta kind of like,
Sure. Yeah.
you know, type my name in YouTube. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? You gotta like show a couple videos, a couple clips, and then they go, all right, coach. Okay, coach.
Yeah.
Okay, which is why so many NBA guys are able to transition back to the NBA
Sure.
level. And those guys listen because they know those guys have had success. It's easier for
Mhm.
them to transition there. But for me, college, I was really, you know, I had really big games. I had great moments, and I'm able to show them like, hey, this was successful for me. I can come down and pinned off and shoot a three. I can, you know, crash the glass and get you a tip dunk. I average almost 6 rebounds a game, so I can show
Mhm.
you how to have a high motor and go rebound and position yourself for success there.
How did you develop guard skills? I mean, were you a late grower or was that something that
Man,
you worked
you
on?
know, my pops is only 6 feet. And
Okay.
my mom's like 5'8", so I never thought I was gonna be 6'8", almost
Sure.
6'9". Like I didn't think that.
Yeah.
So at a certain point, my dad, I played for a really good AAU team even when I was 8 and under. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? 8 and under Prince William Pacers. I had Kendall Marshall on my team.
Nice.
And you talk about a guy. If there was
He's gonna
social
find you.
media back then,
Oh yeah.
he would have been what a lot of these little young kids are now. He was way ahead of his time. Probably one of the best college point guards ever.
He's a wizard with the ball. Yeah. And a
Yeah,
big point guard too.
big point guard too. So I played for him and his dad's AAU team. I you know, my dad did, you know, probably something that most dads wouldn't do. They had me at the center spot, and he took me off the team. He was like, "Nah, I don't think my son's gonna be a center. I don't think he's gonna be 6'10".
Sure.
So he needs to learn how to bring the ball up." And I
Mhm.
did, and he let me play point. And literally, I had a when you say mom and pop, I had a mom and pop AAU team.
Oh, that's cool.
My dad picked everybody up for practice. My dad dropped everybody off from practice,
Hmm.
picked everybody up from the game. Sometimes it'd be 5 of us, 6 of us, but I was able to bring the ball up and push it. And about sixth grade, I was like 6 foot. I thought I was done growing.
Sure.
You know, I was good. Hey, 6 foot. AI was one of my favorite players. Used to cut the sock like it, you know, had
Yeah.
all that stuff. And,
All that.
you know, luckily for me, I kept growing. About eighth grade, I was like 6'3". Now still was playing point. Big, you know, I shift over to DC Blue Devils,
Mhm.
which is kind of like Team Durant now. Morello Vest, assistant coach over at Paul VI, huge in my development, huge in growing up. Took me out to Vegas. I played 16s and 17s
There you go. Kids
as an
don't do
eighth
that
grader.
much more these days
And
either. They're always playing down if they can, not
yeah,
up.
he
Yeah.
he wouldn't let me. He made me play 16 and 17, and it took off. Literally, I came home, and that's when I took off. That's when it was, you know, I was, you know, vying for one of the best players in the area because, you know, my dad was like, all right, you know, and my mom gave him a talk to. My mom was like, look, you take my baby to Vegas, you better bring him back with all, you know, everything he's, you know, his
Better pay
limbs
off. Yeah.
intact. And literally came back the next day. I was going to Nike camp out in St. Louis. I did
Mhm.
well there, and I was, you know, that was really the start of it for me.
That's
But yeah,
great.
growing up, I mean, I didn't have a hoop. Growing up, I dribbled everywhere. I took a
Yeah.
basketball, dribbled. You know, for me, in the area, guys play a
Yeah, I
lot of
agree.
like older men
You're not
play a
dribbling
lot
on
of
cones. You're
basketball.
playing, yeah, playing grown
Yeah,
men.
I'm playing grown men a lot, and for me, it was great because, you know, the area is so much basketball.
Mhm.
You can go to any LA Fitness, you can go to any sport and health club, you can go to any gym. They play a lot in there. They play a lot of basketball, and I just remembered, you know, every day at 6 o'clock, those guys will play. I get out of school at 3:30. Grandma would drop me off up at, you know, whatever gym it was. I'd stay there, work out, then I'd play. I didn't have a trainer. I didn't have a me. You know what I mean? And my dad didn't play middle school ball, let alone high school ball. So what he did was we watched a lot of tapes. We watched like a Glenn Rice tape, like tape
Good
VHS.
one. Yeah, there you go. I
VHS.
love
We had a
that.
Glenn Rice VHS. And then he used to take me to play everywhere, anywhere and everywhere. Saturday mornings, drop me off, and I just played a lot, hooped a lot.
Is there any like one thing from working on your game then or during your college career that's like really stuck with you that you impart on all these guys you work with now? Like, is there one key lesson or thing that you like to pass on?
I think nothing substitute, like basketball for me is one of the things that like nothing substitute hard work. I've very rarely seen a guy with some type of talent work really, really hard consistently and not pay off.
Yeah.
And that's what I kind of tell these guys. You guys are here for a reason. You have talent. You have something to get you here. Now you just got to work. And that's a difference. Some guys work hard. Some guys work harder than other guys. And some guys don't work at all. You know, I haven't seen too many, like, you know, you have your couple guys who just could walk in the gym and you're like, all right, man, like he's just gifted. That wasn't me. I wasn't a product of that. You know, I became more athletic later on in my career, but I wasn't super duper athletic to start high school. You know, I played point guard, you know, a lot as a freshman. And I think, again, freshman year, I was 6'6". I'm thinking I'm done. I still sprout to 6'8". I didn't get off the ball till my senior year of high school in Montrose, where Stu Vetter was like, nah, man, you shoot it too good. You gotta get off this. Like, we need you to score. So, you know, one thing I tell guys is, I mean, stay consistent. Even when you don't still feel motivated, stay consistent. Stay locked in the gym, and great things will happen for you.
One of the key themes from doing this podcast so far, this is episode 8 for us. All the coaches we've had on this far, all point guards. So you playing point guard growing up, I think counts. So we're keeping our streak alive here.
I mean, I was definitely, you know, one of my coaches growing up, Dennis Marshall, Morello Vest. They'll tell you, like, I played point, like legit. And I mean, but walk the ball up, point, tell you where you need to go, come up, flat screen, point. Not like, you know, a lot of these guys are combo guys now. Yeah. I was a pass first, get you to your spots, and then I just, you know, had a knack to getting to my spots and getting downhill. And you know, one thing I think I knew better than a lot of kids at their age was their game. Like, I knew my game. I knew what was going to get me success. I think a lot of these kids now, they try so many different things without mastering what really they're good at.
Yeah, you're working on a move in the gym that you're never going to break out in a game, or you're too scared to break out in a game. It's hard to like put those things into practice, I think. Playing the point, do you think that helped you read the game? And now when you watch film, you see things develop that you can point out to guys more easily?
For sure. I don't know if it was I like to watch myself on film or whatever it was, but I watched a lot of film. I remember I had I remember like I had a date like in high school, like a high school date, and I brought her to the house. We watched film. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Like,
was there a second date?
Nah, she fell asleep. She had to go.
That's a good test. Yeah.
Yeah. But she had to go. But that was like, I was really locked in. I really wasn't a big go outside guy. And, you know, college, I had fun. I had great teammates, guys now. But I got my work in and I had fun.
How is this year's Iowa team looking? I'm a big Tony Perkins guy. So,
how's as you should be. As you should be. Yeah. Tony's going to have a great year, man. I'm excited for Tony. You know, he's bringing it every day. He's locked in. He's one of those guys who he's a big dog. Like that's kind of what I tell him. Like, yo, you want to be a big dog? You want to be like these other guys? You got to bring this mentality every single day. And if Tony can be the best version of himself or close to it every day or every game, and those moments that it matters, man, he'll be fine and he'll have a great year. You know, and you see it in certain situations. Assembly Hall, you know, at Indiana, home versus Illinois. You know what I mean? Carried us, had like 32. Put on an amazing display. And if that Tony doesn't have to be that Tony every game, but if you know he could be consistent,
a little more consistently,
you know, if he could be consistent every game, then he's going to be a guy that, you know, teams are going to really have to stop and have to worry about. And you know, piggybacking off that, I think Peyton Sanford last year, he was so huge for us. You know, once he started hitting shots, once he got his rhythm and confidence back, he was sixth man of the year. And you know, he shot 35 from 3. At one point, he was like 1 for 20. You know what I mean?
Right. He really came on.
And he finished with 35% from 3. I shoot 1 for 20. I might not get 21, 22, 23 up. You know, it might be over with. But a guy like him is supremely confident, big time shooter. He's mad at me because I keep telling him that his brother Price is a better shooter. So he gets mad at me a little bit. And Price might
push like that. Yeah.
And Price might be. That's the crazy part. As a freshman coming in, he can shoot it. I love our class coming in. I love the new guys that we added. Patrick McCaffrey's coming back bigger and stronger. He's about 216 now, which is, you know, for him being able to be that you know, that weight and still fly around and make shots. You know, I think we're going to rely on those 3 heavily, Patrick, Peyton, and Tony. I love Ben Cricky, who we added. Big dog for sure. Dominated when he was playing at Valpo and being able to get him, I think he'll be great for us. We lost 3 guys with 3,000 minutes, man.
Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, we lost Connor McCaffrey. You look at his numbers, assisted turnover. Speaking of, being a point guard,
sure,
maybe the best in the history.
He's just
his
so
numbers
solid, right? I mean, his
numbers
presence.
were. I mean, I think he's top 3, top 4 in the history of the NCAA in assisted turnover. So you lose a guy like that, you lose a first-round pick, you lose a third team, all Big Ten. Really could have been second team. I ain't got no votes, but I'm just saying. Yeah, could have been second team. You lose those 3 guys, it's a lot to make up for. But we were filling them with great young guys. Brock Harding, Mr. Illinois, he's big time. Owen Freeman, really good. Lajay Dembele, he's an East Coast. He's from Mali, but he's went to a really good high school, so he knows how to play the game. And I like our sophomores a lot. Desante Bowen he's going to be really, really good in that Tony Perkins mold. And I think he'll be able to show it. And Josh Dix is super solid. I think we could have, Coach will even admit we could have played Josh Dix a little more last year. But we were old. Yeah, so we had an old group, and we stuck with the vets. But yeah, I'm excited for us. I think we just got to keep working every day. Got to keep working. Got to stack great days. We got to start stacking some of these great days. But it's right around the corner now, so it feels good.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, how much are you guys on the court together right now? Like, is it full practice already?
Yeah, we started full practice with last week. Last Saturday, okay. we remember you used to have the Midnight Madness.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for. I haven't even seen
we used
anybody.
To have the Midnight Madness. Nobody does that no more. That was my era. Georgetown used to have an amazing Midnight Madness. I'm talking like huge, and Maryland did too.
Maryland started it. They're the first school to do a Midnight Madness. I mean,
Gravis, man. Shout out to my boy Gravis, man. I thought Gravis, to me, is one of the more underrated. Not just Terps, but one of the underrated college guys ever.
Signed Grievous Ball right here, 3 feet from my computer.
Yeah, Grievous, you being a Terp, you appreciate Grievous,
Absolutely.
Even Eric Hayes, he was, a guy I battled with. He was a guy I modeled my game after a little bit because he was such a pass-first point guard. And his senior year was my freshman year. And I battled with him, guys like that. That was who I was like, okay, you okay, but I could do this and I can do a little bit more. So, I do think that the Midnight Madnesses and stuff like that is lost. But yeah, we ready to go full swing.
That's awesome. So you guys are in the gym 5 a.m. every day? Like how early are
we
got
a group? I got a group that goes at 7 every morning.
Okay.
They are locked in. That's my breakfast club group. And then, you got your guys who come in routinely at 10:30. My older guys come in a little later. Ben Cricky comes in at 8. But I mean, it's days where you see everybody in here. And I'm talking about before 2 o'clock, before practice. We practice every day at 3.
The extra work, yeah.
You got guys coming in every day, and then you got a group that stays after and get their work in then. So, for me being on the player development side, I couldn't ask for a better group of guys. I don't beg anybody to get in the gym. I don't, I get the text messages. Hey, coach, you got time to go over this? Hey, coach, can I come in? I need to learn that. Oh, hey, I'm here. And I got 2 little ones, so my time isn't too crazy right now. I just, celebrated my daughter's birthday yesterday, which was great. She's 3. She's in love with Bluey and number blocks. So can't wait till we get to the Disney
Not basketball
movie era.
Yet, right? Okay.
No, she'll watch it with me though. She'll come to the games. It's funny. I bring them to the gym. My son is 1. He'll be 2 next month. So I bring them to the gym and they're completely different. My son will sit there and watch everything. The rebound, and my daughter will want to be in everything. She wants to be wherever the cone is. She wants to be right there. If I'm standing in the middle, she wants to be right up under me. Go. If I say, all right, whatever, pick and roll, split, go. Split. So having them in the gym a lot is big time. And seeing Coach and his 2 sons play for him, is something I would love to have it for me.
Yeah, having that. I mean, you're coming into a family atmosphere when you go somewhere like that. That's
the family business. We're the family business. That's what they call us. So, we try to keep it all in the family.
One of these things that the guys probably like picking your brain about, I would imagine some of these guys at least, you had a lot of professional experience, played 9 years overseas, played in a bunch of countries. I think I have them all listed, but let me know if I missed one. We've got Puerto Rico, Hungary, Mexico, Israel, Argentina, Sweden, Georgia, Uruguay, China. Anywhere I'm missing?
No, that was it.
That's a pretty good list.
Lebanon.
Okay. I see. I figured I was pretty close.
It's crazy. Sometimes I forget I played in Puerto Rico. And then even Sweden. Sweden was a quick stint. Just because I went from Lebanon to Sweden. So some countries I did 2 in 1 year. But yeah, I loved Argentina. That was great for me. Hungary, my first year over in Europe, I went to the championship. That was amazing. And those guys definitely picked my brain a lot. They asked me all the time, like, what was my favorite place? I liked Hungary and Argentina for different reasons. Mexico, where, I loved Mexico. I loved the food. I love the culture. They love basketball there as much as, not as much as soccer, but they love
it's
basketball.
Picking up too. Yeah.
It is. And the environments are great. Won a championship there. So China was, my first time experiencing like real, like I felt like, oh wow, this is overseas. Like
it's probably overwhelming to
yeah, it is. It was a little overwhelming at first. The first like 2 weeks, I didn't leave my hotel room. Beautiful hotel room, but I didn't leave. I stayed in there. And then my last, month and a half or a month or so, I was outside and I loved it, man. And every place, as I got there, I took a bit more from the culture and going outside and doing more stuff.
It's probably hard to find the right balance of that, especially early in an overseas career. Is like, all right, how much do I need to just be locked in and be the gym, or can I get out and see some things? Like, what do I pick up, or even just having like maybe the confidence to go out and explore a little bit more too.
Yeah, and I was lucky. I had one of my best friends when I got to Hungary my first year. He quit his. He was working at the Boys and Girls Club, and the team I was playing for Shakers Fahava, and they didn't have enough. Like, I had a couple of the offers competing. And they didn't have as much money, but what they said is, hey, look, we'll fly him over here and we'll pay for your guys' meals throughout the week. And we'll get you a 2-bedroom apartment. We'll pay for his ticket here, his ticket back, and we'll treat him like he's a part of the team. Like he can travel with you, he can do everything with you. And I was like, all right, cool. And he's quit. And, that was my best friend. And we did a whole year overseas. And it was like, great. It was great. I don't know if I would have been able to have as much success on the court because off the court, I had a guy to play 2. And then we had rituals every 3 hours before every game, we played 2K. Yep. After every win, we went to
a little taste of home there, right?
Yeah, we went to we went to Hard Rock Cafe at 8, and every loss we, would go do something. Like it was great for me. It was great for me, and it helped me have some stability. Felt like I had some home, away from home. And I think I tell these guys all the time, don't think that the NBA is the only goal for keep playing or keep being successful, man. I mean, we got guys like Aaron White, who's over in Japan, and he's been there for a long time, and he's making amazing money. He's doing great for himself, great careers. And we got Peter Jock, who just played for the Sudan team in the FIBA, and he had a great run there. He's keeping playing. So we got guys who, Jared Utoff, he just was in, you don't have to be, you can't always be in the NBA for a very long time. But, Tyler Cook is, was kind of in that gray area with G League and NBA. And now he's in the Australian NBA. He's killing it. Yeah. He's killing. So, I tell these guys, don't always think like, oh, if I don't get drafted, what am I do? You gotta have a great career. If you don't get drafted, you gotta have a lot of fun. You make a lot of money, and you'll be able to set yourself up for a successful career.
Is that tough for you? I mean, you played in the summer league. I'm sure you had plenty of workouts with teams. I
did. Wizards too. Yeah.
I gotta imagine you were a guy that thought you could play in the league, right? Like I thought you could. So
I definitely thought I could. Summer league was great for me. More than the game was the practices. Okay. Kyle Singler was there. I had KCP on my team. I had Andre Drummond, who was just practicing with us. So those practices was really where I was like, oh, I could really do that. Like I could do this. And having my great year in Hungary and then coming back to more workouts and more practice, was like, it's the best 420, man. It's hard. It's hard to crack in. It's hard to stay. And I had several opportunities afterwards to do G League and, but at that point financially it just didn't make sense. You know what I mean? And you get to that point where you're like, all right, I could, and maybe then I have friends who had averaged 30 in the G League, 30,
and then still
no call up. So, it was tough for me. I think one thing I'm blessed with now is I've had so much fun doing everything I did. And I really tried my best. Like I really worked as hard as I could work, and now I feel great. Like I'm done.
You leave it all out there, it's a little easier.
I feel great. I don't wake up at any point. I don't watch basketball resentful. I don't work these guys out resentful, telling them old tales like, oh, I would have killed you. Like my time is done. I want you to be better. I want you to make more money. I want you to have a better career. Like I want you to surpass anything I did and do it and have fun doing it. And then I want you 10 years from now to be able to call me and say, Tris, thank you. Like you told me A, B, C, D. You told me you was going to be on me. And because you did, now I'm having more fun than I could ever imagine.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that those guys will benefit so much from that too. And they, like you said, they may not know it now or, for a while, but that hindsight will be big for them too. Any team out there internationally that owes you money still? I feel like that's always a thing, right? Like somebody somewhere still got a check with your name on it, right?
Yes, a couple teams that owe me some money. I don't know. Team in Lebanon for sure. That team in Lebanon owes me a nice check. I'm trying to think. I don't have any crazy stories. I got some homeboys with some crazy stories though. I got some friends with some crazy stories. Even my team in Hungary, I was trying to get bought out of my contract. I wasn't making much, and I was leading the league as a rookie in scoring and points. We had an all-star game, and I won the dunk contest and led the all-star game in scoring. And they had guys on the team that were still trying to make me like rookie haze me, like make me carry bags. And I remember coming back from the all-star game looking like, I came in the locker room and said, I'm not carrying another bag. Right. I'm not, nobody's going to talk to me crazy anymore. Like the halfway through, I did what y'all want me to do. Now, all right, you see, I'm not one of those guys. We're not doing that. Like, let's cut that out. And I remember I had teams trying to buy me out, and my team in Hungary was like, nah. And they were like, look, you're making X amount here. This team's going to pay. One team was going to give up $80,000 to buy me out. I wasn't even making $80,000. They were going to give me $80,000 to buy me out, and then they were going to pay me. You know, they had to pay the team $80,000, then pay me. 2 days before I was supposed to leave, they called the team and said, no, we want $100,000. And the team was like, come on, man. Like, we got to pay him still. Right. Like, you want us to give you $100,000 for a rookie and then still pay him. And they were like, no. And they came to me and was like, look, we'll give you $100 every win extra. So to make it better for you. What was I going to do? Go home? Like,
you can't quit. Right. Yeah.
So I was like, all right, cool. And I was like, when I knew, okay, this is a business. Like, this is a different type of business over here. It's not, what are you going to do, sue? What are you going to do? Fight? Okay, all right, they got 30 more lawsuits.
The appeals court for forever.
Yeah, you're number 7,000. So good luck. You know what I mean? So, but I got friends over there who are playing in some teams 6, 7, 8 months backed up, making $25,000 a month.
A lot of Greek teams are pretty notorious for just not paying guys.
See, I never played in Greece, but I heard stories about Greece too. Some of those teams, but for me, it was I was blessed in that regard. Where if a team was late, now I've had teams be late up until the last day because you lose a couple games and they wait 3 weeks to pay you. You're like, come on, man, like, come on, guys, let's not be like that. But it's different over there. You got to be mentally tough and ready for whatever they throw at you.
Any least favorite places that you're willing? I'm not trying to trash anybody or
no,
but just somewhere that just didn't fit for you.
I had fun everywhere I was at. You know what I mean? Like, I had great teammates everywhere. I made the best of every situation I was in. I tried to make the best of it. If worst comes to worst, I had a PS4, whatever, and Wi-Fi.
You could hunker down if you needed to.
Yeah, I made it work. You know what I mean? I didn't have too many places where I was like, no, I'm not. China was hard because I didn't have any other American teammate. That was tough. I didn't even talk to my coach. I had one game over there. Yeah, we had a translator. I remember my first game over there, we won. I had a triple-double, and we won. And they kick everybody out the room. He brings me aside, and he's like pointing at the thing, at my numbers.
Didn't score enough, yeah.
I had like 22, but I had like 22, 11, 10. Like, I had a triple-double. I was hyped. And they told me, said, if you do this again, pointed to 22, we are sending you home.
I said, that's all you got to say. To score 35 a game.
That's all you got to say. That was it. Next game, I had 46. You ain't got to worry. Listen, that's all you want me to do is just score this? Well, you better tell them get these rebounds because it's going up. And the next game, I had like 40-something. And no, it's cutthroat, though. And I think that's one thing that a lot of guys don't understand about being overseas is, people talk about you get homesick and, you don't got their favorite foods and, be days where you're by yourself. It is cutthroat, man. Mm-hmm. I've been in situations where my teammate's replacement is in the stands watching.
Yeah, they have a guy waiting ready for you.
I've had situations where guys would call me asking me, or I've done it, called guys who are said to be on the roster asking them what the team is like, and I'm replacing them.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
It's tough.
And they don't know yet, right?
No idea. They're like, well, it's 5 of us. Who you coming for? What position you play, bro? I played a 3-4, 4-3. So they gonna play us together? Because I played a 4. Yeah. I don't know about that. I know I'm there tomorrow. I'm laying tomorrow, man. So it's tough.
Yeah, they'll fly guys in and
sit them right in the crowd.
Yeah, exactly. Like immediately after coming off the 18-hour flight or whatever, and put you on a practice. And if you don't look good in that practice, you're back
right
out
back
the next
home.
Day.
Yeah, and then they'll be like, "Oh, you'll get your doctor. You'll do your physical in the morning." Like, don't worry, you'll do your physical in the morning.
Yeah, what if
and
you're
like,
yeah,
or you don't look good, and something's wrong with your knee, by the way. Yeah, we just did a physical, and your knee's funny. Yeah, so I've heard horror stories, but I was blessed. I didn't have too many crazy situations for me.
That's great though. But still, I mean, you can give people on these teams that aren't going to play in the NBA, some points in the right direction, I'm sure, and save them learning curve kind of stuff too. So I think that's
we
huge
do.
for guys.
Yeah, I do. I definitely try to. But a lot of these guys, man, I tell them all the time, it's guys here who have every year they've been there, somebody's been drafted.
Right,
I didn't have that at UCF where I was every year saw a guy get, make it to the NBA. For us, making NBA workouts in summer league was like you made it. So for them, I'm telling them there's no way they shouldn't take advantage of being at an amazing program with such a great reputation from not only the head coach but the guys we have on staff. We have Sherman Dillard on staff. He was a huge play in the DC area as far as getting kids to these camps, and he got me to a lot of Nike camps. So with the basketball knowledge we have on staff and the people and the connections that we all have, I mean, it's no way these guys can't, make their dreams a reality. We get calls all the time, not even about guys that, we coach, but about guys in the Big Ten.
That makes sense. Yeah. And I mean, what you guys do offensively, especially, is going to translate to an NBA court too.
It does. It does. Guys know how to read, they cut, they play free flow. They know how to, it's not too ball dominant with any one player, even though we have a Tony Perkins, we have a Desante Bowen, Brock Harding, guys who can create off the dribble, but then we have guys like Patrick McCaffrey who can free flow, cut, get to the basket, lay it in, and play good.
Why hang it up when you did? It was just time, or is the body?
No, crazy. I was playing pickup with some of these guys. You know what I mean? And that's why we have such a great relationship. Like 3 years ago, I was hooping. I was coming off of having my son. I won a championship in Mexico on a Monday, had my son on Wednesday. And then that was November. By December, I had another job. I was going to Uruguay. My son had a hernia in his stomach, so I came back for that. And the team didn't want me to come back. So long story short, I said, look, I'm not really pressed to play right now. I'm good to go. So that was about February. I was, took a little time off. I was training. I was getting into, really being a, player development. I was going to stop then and just train. And locally, it's a lot of kids in the area that I was training. And then, when the position became available, I sat down with Coach McCaffrey. We had a great relationship, and he told me, "Hey, if we can make it happen, let's make it happen." And he even asked me. He said, "Tris, I just saw you play with our pickup last week. You look great. You want to stop?" And I
got any eligibility left?
Yeah. I wish it's different now. It's different. I joke about people say NIL. We didn't even have training table.
Yeah, exactly. Or tape. All the time, all the supplies.
Like we didn't even have training table. We didn't even get to eat after every practice. Let alone you guys get. We were going to the calf. That was our training table. So, for me, I hung it up and I felt great about it. I talked to my family. Talked to having two little ones. Was a huge thing for me. It was really hard, man, when my son was born. To leave him like that, and my daughter, you know what I mean? When my daughter was born, I was in the middle of playing.
You don't want to miss those moments you can't get back.
Man, missing those moments. And then I thought about it, to be honest, it was a no-brainer. It wasn't even close. Like being able to start my coaching career at the Big Ten level when so many of my friends started at NAIA or JUCOs or high school. It was a no-brainer. Like to be a part of this staff and to be with Coach. I asked them. We sat down. I interviewed. I went through the process. And met with the AD twice. Like it wasn't easy. It was a vigorous progress I had to go through. A lot of people wanted this position, but the way I was comfortable with these guys and the way they responded to me, it was just it was a no-brainer from both sides. And then I had an offer. I don't think people know this either. I had an offer in October. Agent called me. One of my agents called me and was like, "Hey man, I think he's checking on me."
Yeah, just to see
how you
out a little bit.
How you like coaching, man? How you doing? How your body feel? I'm like, "Oh man, I'm great, man. Blah blah." He said, "Yeah, I got an offer for you." I said, "Offer for what?" He's like, team in Hungary,
just in case,
offering X amount of money. They want you to come play. And I didn't even call my family. I just was like, "Nah, I'm good, man. Thanks, appreciate you, but I'm having fun. I'm good to go." So I mean, that's how fresh it was for me. Yeah, and speaking of the Terps, my guy Ricky Harris is over there. Okay. With the Terps, I mean, we played against each other in Argentina. That's my dog. And now we're both on the PD side. You know what I mean? Like we're both done at the same time. So.
Do you get to pick his brain at all on what they do there and what you do?
No, I ain't got nothing to say to him till after. Yeah, we'll talk.
Gotcha.
I'll talk to my mans after. But no, I know they got what they got over there. Some guys that I grew up playing with, like some younger guys who I remember being in the gym with them during COVID. You know what I mean? So I'm really excited for them. Only when they don't play us. So
that's fair. I like that. You can root for a local team here.
It
doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I want those teams to do well. You know what I mean? I want Georgetown to be back to what they used to be. You know what I mean? I think Coach Cooley's a great coach, great guy at that. You know, and I want him to have success. I want Maryland to be successful. I want Howard. I got some great friends who are coaching staff at Howard University. Tyler Thornton is a guy, Gonzaga guy. We beat
one of the next couple people I want to try to get
on
here.
Yeah, that's my man. We beat them though when I was at Montrose, kicked their butt. But I like all those guys. So I want them to be great. I want them to be successful. Even all the way down to Norfolk State, Coach Jones, Robert Jones. That's my guy. A guy I talk to frequently, man. He's great. I want all of them to have success, except if they ever line up versus the Hawkeyes and they got to lose.
That's totally fair. I respect that. Last couple I got for you here. You played in the TBT. That was one of my kind of favorite events to watch every summer.
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
Man, it was hard, especially when you lose in the Final Four. Man, I was hurt. I had a great, man, 2-3 year run, maybe 2-year run. 1 year I didn't because of COVID. But my first year, it was amazing being able to play back at VCU. Mm-hmm. I got 2 Elam ending shots that I made in front of my family from all over the DMV area. To me, that experience is up there with the Kenner League experience. Mm-hmm. But the TBT was great. I got to play, and then I lost in the Final Four to Syracuse, who ended up winning it. Tyrese Rice.
Right. A non-Syracuse guy.
The whole team was non-Syracuse. Let's be honest, man. The whole team that mattered was non-Syracuse.
Caden was on their team, I think, too.
Right? Where he ain't got another lick of Syracuse blood in him, but
another Donnie Jones guy, though.
Another Donnie Jones guy, Iowa State guy too. So, So, but yeah, TBT was great, and for me, being able to go out there and hoop, as recently as I did was big time.
Anything else you have going on besides these things that you want to plug at all or promote, or anybody you just want to shout out and thank them for their role in your journey?
Just everybody back home, man. I have such a huge, like, I wouldn't say fan base, but people who root for me and call me and text me and always are just saying, very great positive things, man. My love for the DMV never stops. I'm a huge, see the hat. I'm a huge DMV supporter of all the teams, all the guys, all the young guys, whether they are recruited by us or not, man. I really want them to be successful and win and keep going, because I do think, we are represented so well from the NBA level to the executive side to guys in player development. I root for all those guys, man. And, and just, watch us. I think we're going to have a great year. We're going to have a fun year. And other than that, again, happy birthday to my daughter yesterday. We had a great birthday. We had Bluey and number blocks and cupcakes, and then today we went to the pumpkin patch. So it was a really busy weekend. Yeah, it was a busy weekend. But it was great. So, man, I just appreciate you having me up here, Matt. And just, this is a great platform. I'm excited for people to tap in even more. You're very knowledgeable about the game, especially the DMV area, just the way you dissect it and you understand, how big time these guys are. And, I'm very appreciative to have a guy like you being able to, represent us and keep promoting us.
Yeah, thanks, man. And that means a lot. It seems like this is one of those things that should be a no-brainer. Like, there's so many good dudes here that we'll never run out of content, I think.
No, I don't think you will. I mean, even the high school level of guys, man, like, it's bad. Like, we might have the best, I can't name names, but like that WCAC.
Yep.
I mean, I know the NIBC is really good. Don't get me wrong. Sure. You have your big time, but that WCAC
could be the best high school league in the country. I mean, could arguably be.
I don't think it's much of an argument. Yeah. I mean, you're top heavy but then your bottom half is good too. Like, a lot of those schools, if they were bigger name schools and out in different countries and stuff, not countries, but like Cali and Texas,
I don't think it'd be close. They would kill it. Yeah,
they would kill it. So, it's hard because they just beat up on each other. Look at last year. The team that won the regular season title didn't win the championship.
Yeah, we had Steve Turner from Gonzaga on.
That's my guy, man. I love Steve.
Great guy. Yeah, but he said the same thing. That's just it's a gauntlet.
Nature of the beast. Yeah, it's like a Big Ten. It is.
Last question. I mentioned Tyler Thornton, somebody like that. Is there anybody you can think of that you would definitely like to see us have on here next? I'm putting you on the spot a little bit here. Can you think about that?
Ty is my guy. You already had Steve. I would like to see one of my guys, Dennis Marshall.
Okay.
Kendall Marshall's dad. I think he was so very underrated in what he did for a lot of these young kids' lives, as far as putting them on different platforms. And I think the knowledge that he has and is willing to share would be amazing. So Dennis Marshall, that's my guy, man. I think he would be really big and really good for this, for something like this. A guy who isn't maybe nationally known, but in the DMV, I think so many people were affected by, him and the way he worked out. I mean, I know I was at 8 years old, the way he taught me how to do the karaoke stretch. I couldn't do it for the life of me. And and I think him having arguably probably the best point guard to come out of DMV up there with Tywan Lawson and Eric Green and Chris Wright, Kendall's name should be up there with those guys.
Agreed.
So, I think that'd be a great person to have. That is a little non-traditional as far as, the guys you've been having. And of course, Ty, I like Ty,
Sure.
Maybe Ricky Harris as well.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer too, because we want to have people from all different angles of this, coaching at different levels, AAU coaches, high school coaches, even I'm going to try to get a high school player or two on here too, just to
to
hit everybody. So that's a great suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah.
Tristan, this was awesome, man. I really enjoyed this. I know you had a busy weekend, so thanks for clearing an hour. But hopefully everybody back here is rooting for your success and enjoys the interview.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Hey, good luck this season, except when you play the Terps, okay?
Hey,
go easy.
If you need some tips, holler at me. We could talk about it. We could talk after.
That sounds good. All right, everybody, you know the drill. Rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. This is spun off into its own feed, separate from Believe in Wizards. So make sure you're subscribing wherever you get your podcasts, on the YouTube, all that kind of stuff. We're presented by betonline.ag, and we will catch you all next time.